The following is a production of Florida State University's Office of University Communications. Coming up on FSU Headlines, a Florida State University researcher explores a lost world of dinosaurs. Florida State is stretching the perception of university research. And bring on the band, FSU's marching chiefs give so that others may live. Stay tuned for these stories and much, much more. FSU Headlines starts now. Hello and welcome to another edition of FSU Headlines. I'm Dennis Schnitker.
And I'm Nora Bertollet. We're joining you today from the wondrous William Johnston Building on Florida State University's campus.
There's exciting news from Florida State as an FSU researcher returns home from an exploration to the last frontier.
That's right, Dennis. FSU professor of biology Gregory Erickson and a team of researchers have unearthed a big discovery that could change what we know about the gargantuan lizards of the past. Dinosaurs.
Our research team has been working up in Alaska for 5 years, a collaboration between Florida State and the University of Alaska at Fairbanks. So we're announcing a new dinosaur. It's called Ugruunalik Kukpekensis. It's named after the Inupiat words for ancient grazer of the Colville River. It's obviously very exciting to us to find a new dinosaur, and particularly in the Arctic. So this is an animal that generally walked on its back legs, could drop down on its forelegs. It was a grazer, had a big broad bill, could graze low-lying plants, and it had batteries of teeth where it had probably up to 1,400 teeth that it in a very horse-like manner could grind up plants. It was a scaly creature. We know this from close relatives of it, where we found very nice skin impressions, and it also had sort of Godzilla-like plates coming off of its back as well, obviously for display. The bones we're finding from this new animal range from sizes about like this. This is one of the forearm bones here. This animal would have had a jaw about this long, so we're getting very small dinosaurs up there. But occasionally we're finding some larger bones, such as this equivalent element here, which would have gone with an animal with a jaw about this big. So we're getting animals that are very young to near adult size, and from these adult animals in particular, we've found some new features that show that this is definitely a new species. There's a whole different province of dinosaurs up there. In fact, we believe there's 13 different species of dinosaur up there, and just about every single one of them looks a little bit off relative to dinosaurs that lived at the same time down in Alberta and Montana. And so this has led us to posit a theory that everything up there was Arctic adapted. And this suggests that there was an Arctic province. Basically, what we think we're finding is a lost world of dinosaurs out there that we just didn't realize that existed. What's even more exciting to me is that Alaska is almost completely unexplored, and we're one of the only research teams in Alaska, that's working up there. And it's really exciting, not only what we found, but I think what we're going to find down the road.
Professor Erickson's new dino made major headlines when it was announced in September, putting FSU in the New York Times, Washington Post, ABC News, CNN, and Time Magazine, just to name a few of the publications covering the story. Everybody loves dinosaurs.
That they do, Nora, and 3 full skeletons of the new dino are now on display at the University of Alaska's Museum of the North. For more information on Ugruunalik Kukpekensis, you can visit news.fsu.edu. And in other news, Florida State University identifies a protein with promise for cancer therapy. Florida State University's Daniel Kaplan believes he's solved a mystery, a cell division mystery, and his solution will likely intrigue the makers of cancer-fighting drugs.
It separates proteins on the basis of their size.
The biomedical sciences researcher says the key to his solution is a protein called treslin. Most chemotherapy cancer treatments today affect both cancer cells and normal cells, but Kaplan reports the protein treslin can target cancer cells without killing normal cells. That's because treslin acts on another protein involved in cell replication called CDC7.
Well, it's known that if you inhibit this initiation factor, CDC7, then you kill cancer cells but not normal cells, because you see cancer cells are addicted to DNA replication. They constantly need to replicate their DNA every time they divide. Whereas our normal cells, if you inhibit CDC7, the cells just go into a resting state. They don't actually die. In the future, we hope to screen small molecules, in other words, potential drugs that can inhibit the ability of tresmin to stimulate CDC7. And we've developed the assay in our lab. The next step is to screen now many different small molecules, 50,000 or so, and to see if any of them will inhibit this assay, because then those could potentially be drugs to treat cancer in the future.
Florida State has filed a provisional patent. It has a year to find a drug company interested in partnering to develop a small molecule inhibitor. Kaplan's findings were published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences.
If you want to broaden your horizons, Florida State University is the place to be. That's according to the nation's oldest and largest diversity-focused publication covering higher ed. For the second consecutive year, Florida State has received the Higher Education Excellence in Diversity Award from Insight into Diversity magazine. The award measures an institution's achievement and commitment in regard to broadening diversity and inclusion on campus.
Proud of our folks that make it happen, but very proud of Florida State University. But it gives us, like I said, it gives us an incentive to do more. This ought to be a place where people can come, understand that it's a diverse university. They're going to see different folks from different cultures, different races, and that's a positive thing for Florida State University and a positive thing for the growth of our students.
Well, the exciting thing about diversity and inclusion on FSU campus is that it's not just an HR issue, it's not just a student affairs issue, it's all over campus. And so when you look at the different things that we've accomplished, there are things such as different training seminars that HR does spearhead, but also other training in student affairs, different reading lists that we put out at the library to make sure our campus understands the things that, we want to focus on from a diversity and inclusion perspective.
As an award winner, Florida State will be featured in an upcoming issue of Insight into Diversity magazine.
At many universities, the chance to conduct research is reserved for graduate level students. At Florida State University, on the other hand, undergraduate students are offered a wealth of opportunities to conduct scientific research. Here's a look at some of those outstanding students.
It's great for me to be here to celebrate the incredible research and creative endeavors that some of our most accomplished undergraduates have been involved in.
So tonight is our annual President's Showcase of Undergraduate Research Excellence. It's a time when the university comes together to celebrate the 35 students who have won university-wide research awards. So it's the top students at the university who have been funded by the university to conduct extensive research or creative projects. And tonight they're here to showcase the work they've done over the summer to the university. But FSU over the last decade has made a serious commitment and investment of resources to make sure undergraduates at every level, freshman to senior, can participate in research mentored by faculty members. In fact, over 25% of students at the undergraduate level here participate in research. And FSU was recently named by the Council of Undergraduate Research one of the top schools in the country for undergraduate research.
Florida State is amazing at getting undergraduates involved in research, and I'm so thankful for that. So I got started a little bit late, but people should definitely get started early. I started in my junior year, and it's just been so rewarding. There's been so many opportunities, and now graduating from Florida State in spring of 2016, I actually have a few people I'm talking to for graduate school, and having this experience in undergrad has really put my foot forward for that, and they're very interested in my work that I've done so far.
They've done excellent work here. They've all been working for hours and hours and hours and weeks over the summer, many endless nights trying to put these projects together, and I think they're very excited too to showcase to their families and their friends what the work they've been doing.
And if you'd like to learn more, you can visit the Center for Undergraduate Research and Academic Engagement at cre.fsu.edu.
Well, coming up on FSU Headlines, research and experimentation isn't just conducted in the science lab.
Mancy, now in its 12th season, it does something that is quite unique actually within college campuses across the country, and that is that it is the only center of its kind that actually exists within a research university.
We'll show you how Florida State supports world-class choreographers and their research when FSU Headlines continues in a moment.
I will forever bleed garnet and gold, and I will forever be here at heart.
Florida State is monumental in my academic and professional career, I think.
The professors are some of the greatest people I've ever met in my life. We've always known we wanted to go to Florida State. We're going to go to Florida State.
FSU helped me so much by giving me all the resources that I could need to succeed.
An amazing experience. I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world.
When you buy a Florida State University license plate,
you're not just showing your school spirit.
You're supporting students like us.
In the lab,
in the classroom,
and in the library.
Putting this tag on your vehicle helps Florida State students achieve their dreams. So show your pride. Purchase an FSU license plate today.
Welcome back to FSU Headlines. I'm Dennis Schnitker.
And I'm Nora Bertolet. Pliés and pointed toes are not the only things that thrive at FSU's Maggie Allesee National Center for Choreography. Also known as MANCI, the center is also home to creativity and experimentation where students, faculty, and artists can thrive.
And Nora, MANCI also provides opportunities for students beyond the classroom. Relationships are built, connections are made, and an environment to inspire the next great work of art is encouraged.
MANCI, now in its 12th season, it does something that is quite unique actually within college campuses across the country, and that is that it's the only center of its kind that actually exists within a research university. And that it brings in regionally, nationally, in some cases internationally acclaimed artists to come here and be in residence.
Harassment, and you do the tap, tap, backflip. One of the amazing things about MANCI is basically having a space and sort of support to really experiment with work and kind of sort of move into territory where you feel more lost within work. Here's an opportunity for students to interact with artists from all over the country and artists from Europe, and to have an influx of just lots of different ideas and ways of thinking about things. Also great for the faculty here to sort of be able to interact with different artists from around the country. And then as an artist, our interactions with the faculty here and the students, it's great to, when work is in its really beginning stages, to, like last night we did a showing, and it's wonderful to be able to show it to a large sort of population and kind of get feedback from them before we go off and then premiere the piece. And so that feels really valuable.
In particular for the dance students and other students who are in the arts, what it does is not only expose them to a whole myriad of kinds of investigations, because we really pay attention to putting together a season, if you will, that really comprises a whole range of artists that come from various places in the country and that deal with various kinds of materials, interests, etc.
Definitely would say that MANCI really not only enriches the dance program here, but digs even deeper, building sort of a relationship not only between the students, but what's currently happening in the field. We have classes in dance history, we have classes in choreography, but what is happening now? And who are the artists who are not only up and coming, but maybe distinguished artists continuing their craft? And it allows the students an opportunity to be able to see the works that are happening and showcasing all over the nation and the world.
And so when they transition to the outside world, they've already made those professional connections. They've already had opportunities with which to explore their craft, to explore their place within the discipline. And so we are preparing them through our partnership with MANCI to enter into the real world experience of dance and related arts.
Along with its national recognition, MANCI has been awarded a prestigious grant from the Andrew W. Mellon Foundation, which will fund residency opportunities for the next 3 years. From dinosaurs to dancing, research at Florida State University clearly covers a broad spectrum of fields. Assistant psychology professor Ariel Borofsky's latest research may seem slightly more traditional compared to research in the arts, but she's grabbing the attention of the large population responsible for getting kids interested in dancing and dinosaurs. Many families don't know about the potential problems with language and literacy until their child begins school, even though there could be earlier signs in how kids learn and understand words. Thanks to a nearly $500,000 grant from the National Institutes of Health, FSU professor Ariel Borofsky will explore the unknowns of how children learn and understand words that may predict future language growth. The study will work with children between 16 and 18 months old and will use eye tracking technology for Borofsky to measure how children interact during tasks that are camouflaged as an interactive video. The screen the child watches doubles as a camera connected to a computer, which will collect data based on the direction and speed of the child's eye movement.
Earlier intervention has the potential to make a bigger impact on children. So if you're waiting until a child who is having a language learning delay until they enter school, they might already be years behind their peers. And there's a lot of wasted time and missed opportunities that they could have been seen by a speech pathologist or some other kind of clinician who could have started working intensely with them to get them up into a learning trajectory that might have left them without any problems at all by the time they entered school.
The children will return to the lab every 6 months until they're 3 years old to play a new set of games and record data.
Florida State University's campus on the coast welcomes Carol Edwards as the new dean of FSU Panama City and the College of Applied Studies. Carol Edwards is back in Panama City after years in higher education. Edwards spent much of her time as a doctoral student at FSU, teaching classes at Florida State's Full Branch campus several years ago. She says it's a dream come true to now serve as dean, and she's hit the ground running since starting her new post in August. Florida State's Panama City campus is home to some of the university's most recognized academic programs, like the unique Underwater Crime Scene Investigation Team, or its #1 ranked Applied Behavior Analysis graduate program. With outstanding educational programs and a hometown feel on campus, Dean Edwards is excited to see what the future holds.
What I like for the students, the faculty, the community, anybody to know about me is, first and foremost, I consider myself to be an educator. I've been an educator all of my life. So I'm very student focused, and I think that when I interact with students, they understand that immediately. What I want them to know about this campus is that we have a world-class institution with world-class faculty in a small community setting.
And to learn more about FSU Panama City, you can visit them online at pc.fsu.edu.
Poet Joseph Brodsky once stated, "There are worse crimes than burning books. One of them is not reading them." So in honor of Banned Books Week and one of FSU's former English professors, Florida State University students, faculty, and staff read for a marathon 24 hours.
"You cannot pass," he said.
Starting at 3 p.m. on a Tuesday, volunteers spent 15-minute shifts reading The Fellowship of the Ring. For 1 week each fall, the American Library Association and libraries across the country, like those on Florida State's campus, promote events and activities that bring awareness to the restriction of sharing ideas via banning books. The Strozier Library hosts the marathon reading, now in its 5th year, as a part of bringing awareness to campus. This year's continuous reading also honored a longtime proponent of Banned Books Week and an English professor on campus for over 50 years, Fred Stanley, who died last December.
So we're hoping that people will kind of take away the idea that, even though something might be challenged, it shouldn't be kind of hidden away, and that we're really hoping that other people will kind of challenge people when they say, hey, this book shouldn't be read, that maybe we take a second look and think about why people are saying that, but also just kind of a sense that reading is fun and that even reading out loud could be really beneficial and engaging.
To learn more about the FSU libraries, visit lib.fsu.edu. Well, dancing for a great cause at Florida State University leads to a big check for FSU's College At Florida State University's annual Dance Marathon event, more than 1,800 students danced for over 40 hours to raise money and awareness for local charities. And this year, the group donated over $500,000 to Florida State's College of Medicine.
It was indescribable. You know, our goal was $1 million, and the fact that we did 1.1, that was just absolutely indescribable. And knowing that we worked all year long, so 365 days nonstop to make sure that, you know, we were going to achieve that, and having the backing of our student body to ensure that we reached our goals was absolutely incredible.
The donation is part of a record $1.16 million that was raised in 2014 by Dance Marathon at Florida State. The FSU College of Medicine is using part of the proceeds from this year's event to pay for a school-based health program in Gadsden County and to purchase equipment for the pediatrics unit at the Tallahassee Memorial Hospital.
They're absolutely saving lives. You know, the money that they raise for the College of Medicine, for the community-based programs for our hospital, are absolutely saving lives every day. So each and every one of them, they go out and raise that dollar at a time. That dollar comes back and provides real care for kids every single day.
The check is presented to the College of Medicine in the fall to gather the partners of Dance Marathon FSU to help kickstart awareness with the new semester.
And during the past 19 years, Dance Marathon at FSU has raised more than $6 million for charity.
Well, coming up on FSU Headlines, the Florida State football team begins the heart of its ACC schedule.
We'll have a breakdown of the FSU football action and plenty more from Seminole Sports when FSU Headlines continues in a moment. Hello and welcome back to FSU Headlines. I'm Dennis Schnitker.
And I'm Nora Bertollet. Dennis, it's October, and that means football is in full swing as the regular season rolls on.
That's right, Nora, and the FSU football team is starting the heart of its Atlantic Coast Conference schedule with some tough games on deck. FSU Headlines reporter Mark Vaughn joins us now with a look at the Seminole football team and more action from around campus. Mark?
Hey, Dennis and Nora. The Florida State football team took on Wake Forest on the road to start their ACC schedule before games against Miami and Louisville. Florida State looking to improve on some early season success against what most would call lesser opponents. But on the road at Wake Forest, it was a good first ACC test for the Noles. The team survived some injuries and some penalties as the number 9 ranked Seminoles found themselves in a surprisingly tight contest with the upset-minded Demon Deacons. But with Wake threatening to score and send the game to overtime, senior Tyler Hunter picked off a pass to preserve a 24-16 win. The victory ensures that FSU starts 4-0 for a 4th straight season, and during this 2015 campaign, the Noles have had their moments, but also showed some signs of youth on both sides of the ball, which is understandable after having to replace nearly 30 players over the last 3 years, thanks to success in the NFL draft and graduation. Okay, so let's move things to another field of play where the Noles have been outstanding. That's the soccer pitch. The defending national champion Seminoles are on a hot streak in October. With its 8th shutout of the season, number 2 ranked Florida State extended its home winning streak to 17 straight matches with a 6-0 victory over Pitt recently. The win also marked the 15th consecutive regular season ACC match without a loss for the Noles and 23rd overall against conference opponents, including postseason last year. So pretty easy to see why the Seminoles have been so dominant over the last couple of years. All right, so last but certainly not least, the Seminoles volleyball team in the middle of another great season. The Noles on the hard court this month with some big matchups in conference play after starting the year in some road tournaments. They've beaten Miami, Notre Dame, Clemson, and Louisville in the month of October, and they'll look to keep that momentum going throughout the rest of the regular season. They'll play all those teams again, though, before the regular season concludes, so it's safe to say no rest for the weary in this tough conference. The team is looking to follow up last year's 30-3 season with more success this year. Remember, you can keep up with the action on the hard court, the pitch, and the football field by visiting Seminoles.com. Well, as you can see, it's very busy here on campus this fall. That's going to do it from Doak Campbell Stadium. Let's send things back to you.
All right, Mark, thanks for that update.
Well, we're shifting gears a little bit, but not by much, Dennis. A well-known group of students supports Seminole athletics and could also be considered student athletes in a way.
Very true. These students dedicate a great deal of time and energy to their practice as well, but their off-the-field maneuvers are also drawing attention.
By university and NCAA regulations, they're not technically student athletes, but make no mistake, the 400+ members of the Marching Chiefs spend just as much time and energy on the field and court as many of FSU's student athletes. The band also supports various athletic events throughout the fall and spring, but it's the continued support for the athletic department's initiatives off the field that prompted recognition for 3 special students in the halftime show during the FSU USF game on September 5th. Thanks to collaboration between the band directors, Be the Match, and Kids First Fund, a fundraiser for new students to join the organization's national registry is scheduled during a band practice at the beginning of the fall semester. Since fall 2014, 3 members of the band and color guard have been matched. 2 of these students have already donated stem cells, and the 3rd will go through the procedure by the end of October.
It was really surreal. I remember I got a phone call in the middle of class from a number I didn't recognize, so of course I just turned it off, and after class I listened to the voicemail and my jaw just dropped. I was like, I can't believe this. And so of course I called them, but that first phone call is just the initial phase, like, oh, you are sort of a match for this person. Now we have to do some blood work, etc., some more tests to see if you are actually the best match for this patient.
Both the Marching Chiefs and the FSU football players wore I Fight Fanconi stickers on their shirts and helmets to show their united support for each other and the Kids First Fund.
You know, Nora, only about 1 in 540 people will get the chance to donate after signing up and testing. So for the Marching Chiefs to have 3 students help change the lives of families, it's kind of a big deal. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of FSU Headlines, but you can see more news from Florida State University anytime at Florida State 24/7.
It's the official news website of Florida State University, and you can find it at news.fsu.edu.
On behalf of Nora and everyone here at Florida State University, I'm Dennis Schnitker. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.